Today's recipe calls for sweet and condensed milk. I'm going to show you how to make a frozen lemonade pie. This is the perfect recipe for anybody that's new or a novice in the kitchen because it's so simple. Or if you need an easy slap together summertime dessert, this is the perfect go-to recipe, and it's really tasty. So with that said, let's get started.
The first thing we need to do to make this set it and forget it type dessert is start by prepping the graham cracker crust. Collect 12 full-sized crackers or 1 1/2 cups or 180 grams worth. Next, snag a crushing device and a bag. Toss about half of the crackers in before you zip it closed. Release as much air out as possible. Following that, smash the graham crackers with the tool of your choice. Keep doing this until you achieve a fine grain consistency. Repeat the same process for the other half of graham crackers. Set the powder aside for now. In a medium-sized holding device, add a 1/4 cup or 50 grams dark brown sugar. To that, we'll add the zest of 2 medium lemons. It's best to zest the citrus fruit over the sugar. It'll drop some natural oils and sugars. We want to collect that flavor. Also, avoid zesting the white part of the fruit. It's known as the pith and it's bitter in taste. Once you're done stripping the yellow coat off the lemon, tap your zester to knock loose any skins that may be stuck. Immediately rinse it clean as well. It'll make it easier to wash later. Alright, now that we have those 2 ingredients in the bowl, we need to combine them into one. Using a whisk or your hand, rub and mix the zest and brown sugar together. The coarse ground texture of the sugar will slightly crush the zest, causing it to release more of the natural oils and sugars they hold, which of course is flavor. Mix the things for a few minutes or until the air becomes fragrant with a citrus smell. Next, we'll dump in the crushed graham cracker. Whisk your face off to mix all of the ingredients into one giant mess of goods. Before I forget, add 1 teaspoon of coarse ground kosher salt. Give that a mix in as well. Now that all the dry ingredients are in the bowl, we need to add the wet ingredients in next to combine everything into one. We'll add in 6 tablespoons or 85 grams of melted unsalted butter. To bring even more flavor, you can use brown butter instead of regular old butter. Add about half of the liquid gold, then give things a mix with a rubber spat until it's well mixed about. After that, add the other half of the melted butter. Keep mixing until it looks like you have wet sand, or until things go from a light brown color to a darker shade of brown. So even though this recipe is super simple, I somehow messed it up and had to make this recipe twice. I made a few mistakes, and one of them was not using enough butter, so my crust was really dry and didn't stick together. A great way to tell if you used enough butter is if you can squeeze the graham cracker crust into a clump that stays together. If it does, then you know it's well mixed and done right. Alright, now that the crust is made, grab a 9-inch deep pie pan. Grease the dish really well with butter or a non-stick spray. It's imperative that you do this. I did not, and that was another mistake that I made with this recipe. The moisture in the butter and the other ingredients will freeze overnight and of course will stick to your pan, and it sucks. You'll see at the end of the video what I mean. After it's been coated in the fat, we need to transfer the graham crackers over. Layer the bottom portion of the pie pan first into one even layer of stuff. Once you have a good amount in the pie pan, start lightly packing the crust into a layer, using your hand or a cup that has a flat bottom to it. When the bottom layer has been made, start building up the sides of the pie crust. The side is a little tricky to do. Lightly pack the crust on the sidewalls to build it up, then go ahead and pack it in. Keep repeating these steps until the whole pie pan is covered in graham cracker crust. Use a light to medium force when packing things in. If you pack with too much force, it'll make the crust too hard. I believe I packed mine too tight and it caused issues later. Also, another problem I had the first time was using too small of a pie dish. So I had way too much ingredient and not enough room in the dish to put it all in. Ensure you use a deep dish pan. Now that we have the pie shell made, we need to toss that thing into the freezer box for at least 15 to 20 minutes, or until we are done prepping the rest of the ingredients. Next, grab a stand mixer with the paddle attachment or a large bowl with a hand mixer. The first thing you'll drop in the bowl is 8 ounces or 225 grams full fat cream cheese that is softened, meaning room temp. Give the cheese of cream a quick mix on medium speed for about a minute to break it up or until it looks light and sort of fluffy looking. Scrape the bowl down throughout this entire process to ensure things are well mixed together. After it's been slapped around a little, the next thing we'll add is 14 ounces or 396 grams of sweetened condensed milk. Scrape the can clean, no need to waste things. When it's all been added to the bowl, mix these two ingredients together on medium for about 2 minutes or until everything is fully combined together and is the same consistency. It should look almost like condensed milk, just a bit thicker. Now is the time to really scrape the bowl down to make sure the cream cheese is fully incorporated. Don't forget to scrape down the attachment as well. When things look like one giant mess, we'll zest in an additional 2 lemons into the pie filling. This is optional and not needed. I just really wanted to drive home the lemon flavor. Feel free to skip adding more. The next ingredient we'll add to the bowl is 1 teaspoon coarse ground kosher salt. Following that, add 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract. Give those a mix about with the rest of the ingredients. While the mixer is going, slowly pour in 12 ounces or 354 mils of thawed frozen lemonade concentrate. Make sure your mixer is on low speed so you don't make a huge mess. Mix all of this together for about a minute. Then take it off the mixer stand and fold things by hand with a rubber spat if needed. Alright, the last step we need to do is make some whipped cream. In a chilled medium-sized bowl, add half a cup or 118 mils of cold heavy whipping cream. Start whisking your face off until you reach stiff peaks. I forgot how labor intensive this task is by hand. Use a hand mixer or the stand mixer with the whisk attachment if you have another stand mixer bowl, or transfer the stuff around to make it happen. Anyways, a stiff peak is when you can pick up the whipped cream with the tip of the whisk and it doesn't fall off. Using a rubber spatula, scoop and gently fold the whipped cream into the pie filling. Add about half of the cream into the mix, fold it in until most of it has been incorporated in. We do not want to lose too much of the airy fluff it holds. Following that, add the rest of it in, folding it until you no longer see it. Adding the whipped cream will give our pie a nice light and airy texture, giving it more body. Now that our filling is done, bust out the pie crust from the freezer. Add the goods to the crust using a ladle. This tool will make it much easier and cleaner. To ensure you do not make a mess and waste this delicious mixture, scrape the bottom of the ladle on the edge of the mixing bowl to ensure the filling doesn't drip off, causing a mess. When the majority of the filling is in the pie pan, simply pour in the rest. Scrape the mixing bowl clean, then give it a quick rinse. It'll make it easier to clean later if that stuff doesn't dry and harden. Give it a few good taps to try and knock out any air bubbles that may be present. Very carefully toss this business into the freezer uncovered. Allow it to completely set up and become firm in texture about 10 hours or leave it overnight. I left mine overnight to ensure it fully set up because I kinda have patience, not trying to brag or anything. When it's close to being done, the last thing we need to do is make some whipped cream for the top of the pie. Repeat the same steps as before. This time use 1 cup or 236 mils of cold heavy cream. Also, add 4 tablespoons of powdered sugar for some sweetness, or add more if you would like. Sift the sugar in to prevent things from being clumpy. When it's done, give it a taste test and adjust things as needed with more powdered sugar. Once the whipped cream is done and the pie is fully set up, let's finish this bad boy off. Using a rubber spatula, scrape all of the whipped cream on top of the pie. I find it easier to have all the whipped cream on top before we spread it out. Use the rubber spat or a small offset spatula to spread things out into one even layer. Make the whipped cream into whatever design you would like. To finish things off, add the zest from a small lemon. For whatever reason, the zest was really juicy so it didn't really spread out like I would have liked it to. So I zested it on the side, then tried to sprinkle it over the top, which it kind of worked. I recommend zesting the lemon in the morning, allowing it to dry out so it's easier to sprinkle on later. Alright, now that our pie is done, let's cut into this thing. Using a plastic knife or a plastic pie cutter, cut things into as many pieces as you wish. Fair warning, the piece I cut is going to look absolutely terrible. The reason being is, I took too long taking pictures for a thumbnail, so things started to melt. So keep that in mind when serving. Do not let it set out for too long unless you want a soup. Also, my crust stuck to the pie dish because I didn't grease it, and I think I packed it in just a bit too tight. I basically had to pry the piece out of the pan. That's why it's imperative to grease the pie holder and not to pack things in too tight. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Even though it looks messy, it's still really good. Anyways, eat this pie with a cold glass of blueberry lemonade or toss some fresh blueberries on top. Whatever you decide to do, just enjoy.
Alright, now that our frozen lemonade pie is done, let's give it the old taste-a-roo. So looking at it, it didn't really come out aesthetically pleasing in a piece, but the entire pie itself looked really good. It's slightly melting, and I had a hard time getting it out of the pan. That's why it looks pretty ugly, but nonetheless, it looks like it's still going to be delicious and sweet. So let's give it a shot. Try to get a bite with everything in it. Even though this thing looks like a giant pile of a mess, it came out really tasty. The first thing that hits your palate, of course, is that pop of freshness and that lemony flavor from the zest and the lemonade concentrate. You get a bit of richness and fat from the cream cheese, the condensed milk, and that butter from the crust. We get a bit of sweetness from that whipped cream on top, that sweetness from the condensed milk, and that brown sugar in the crust as well. In the background, you get a faint hint of vanilla extract that plays really well with lemon, and you get a bit of saltiness that plays well with the sweetness from the crust and the whipped cream on top. Texture-wise, the whipped cream is nice and airy, light and fluffy on top, and the pie itself is kind of like a soft serve ice cream. It just melts in your mouth and it tastes so good. And you get a bit of crunchiness from our crust, which plays really well with all that softness. Overall, it's just really good. This recipe is crazy simple to make, and you can make it any which way that you want. Maybe ditch the regular cream cheese and use a blueberry cream cheese instead because it goes so well with lemon, or get real bougie with it and make a lavender whipped cream for the top. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Thanks for watching. And I have like 5 or 6 naked lemons in the fridge now, and I gotta go figure out what to do with them. Maybe make some lemonade or a different recipe that calls for lemon juice. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna go figure that out, and we'll see you on the next one. This recipe, it came out super. Always with the supers. Tasty. The first thing that hits well, the crust brings a little bit of crunch factor, so you get something. And the condensed milk as well. The condensed milks. Texture-wise, it's nice and stupid fridge. Of course, is that tartness from the lemon I try to say zest and juice all at the same time. It didn't work.